righty. Thanks. So I thought we'd talk a little bit about internet marketing and a couple of questions to kind of set the stage. So first, who's Brad Fallon? Rather than spending a lot of time on background and bios and things like that, I thought what we'd do is just save some time. We'll go to Google and type in coolest guy. And if we were still, yeah, there we go. And that's me that comes up #1. That's my blog, bradfallon.com. So. Can't argue with Google, right? Actually, I'm #1 and #2, and it's kind of funny. It used to be coolest guy on the planet was kind of a sort of our own little private Google bomb. It wasn't a very competitive search term, but it was kind of funny and whatever, and it just wasn't that competitive. But these days, there's a lot of other guys that are sort of other internet marketers that kind of took the opportunity to go for that as well. So we've got third coolest guy on the planet. Other people have kind of been gunning for me a little bit. I told them that they're trying way too hard. It was only funny when I did it. But anyway, so it's got a little bit more competitive. But one of the more competitive terms is one of the things we're going to talk today is a piece of jargon or word that he'd mentioned, John did, is SEO. Has anyone not ever heard of SEO, search engine optimization? How many people, it's the first time you've ever heard that? So a couple, first time ever, never heard the phrase SEO. And that's kind of in internet marketing, that's the idea of optimizing your website so that it comes high when people go to Google and type in what you want to be found for. And so that's one of the things we're going to talk about today. So SEO is the industry, it's kind of the main word. If you type in SEO expert in Google, I come up #1 for that as well. So that's a little bit more competitive because all the guys that do SEO are finding that. So, second question, when was the internet invented? In the 60s, or, well, Al Gore was very small then, so I don't, you know. It depends who you ask and what the topic. I'll tell you, to kind of set the stage and give you sort of an overview of the concept or sort of the big picture of what we're going to talk about. I like to think about the internet as being invented in 1844 because that was the first time that human beings could communicate electronically. And that was a big deal. But the thing was, it was only a one-way conversation, and both people had to be there at the same time. The next sort of sea change was in 1876 when they figured out the telephone, and now it's a two-way conversation. So that changed everything. But again, both people had to be there at the same time. And the cool thing about the internet, the really important concept about internet marketing or interactive marketing, the best definition I've heard of that is it's a two-way conversation that takes place independent of time and space. And that's what's great about it, is that someone can come to your website while you're out on a different sales call and have an interaction, and based on the actions that they take, they get different information and can move themselves along in the sales funnel while you're not even there. And the fact that you're not even there and the marginal cost of an additional visitor to your website is how much? Zero, right? So I mean, it's zero. And so it's completely scalable. And that's the other really important point about internet marketing, is that a lot of the things that we're going to talk about today are very inexpensive. And there's some really powerful tools that aren't like upgrading your accounting package or something like that. A couple years ago, we went from QuickBooks to Great Plains, and you know, it's sort of an expense. And it keeps getting worse and worse. But